Okay, so for number 1, it says there are 5 flowers in each bunch. How many flowers are in 4 bunches? So these pictures are equal groups. You can see that we have 4 different groups, and then there's so many flowers in each group, and that goes along with part A of this question. So first was how many groups are there? And you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So on your problem set, you're gonna, whoops, wrong type of pen. On your problem set, you're going to write 4. And then the size of each group means how many flowers are in each group. So when you count, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to put 5 for the size of each group. And just like we learned in the previous lessons, however many groups there are, that's usually the number that we write first in our equation. So we've got 4 because there's 4 groups. Multiply that by 5 because there's 5 flowers in each group. And if you were to count by 5s 4 times, you could say 5, 10, 15, 20, and you would know that 4 times 5 is 20. So last part, it says there are 20 flowers altogether. Okay, so for number 2, it says there are blank candies in each box, so you'll have to count how many pieces of candy are in each group, and then we're trying to figure out how many candies are in all 6 boxes total. So for this one, I think I'm going to let you fill in the blanks on your own, and once you are ready to check that, you may push play. So go ahead and push pause, work on number 2, and then push play whenever you're ready to check it. Okay, so whenever you look at each box or each group, you saw that there were 3 pieces of candy in each one. So the number of groups we had were 6, and there were 3 pieces of candy in each group, so that is the size of each group. They started off with 6 because that's how many groups there were, and we multiplied that by 3 because there were 3 in each group. And when you do 6 times 3, you get 18. You could have skip counted by 3s on each one of these boxes to find your total. So there are 18 candies all together. So now we're ready to move on to number 3, and as you can see, this picture is no longer equal groups. This picture is an array, which is the lesson that we worked on yesterday. So once again, I want you to take a look at what the question's asking you, look at all of the blanks, use the array to help you figure out how many rows and how many in each row, and then here's your multiplication equation, and then you're going to answer how many oranges there are all together. So I want you to push pause and work on all the blanks for number 3, and push play whenever you're ready to check those. Okay, so it says there are 4 oranges in each row, so you can see here's a row, and here's a row going straight across, and there's 4 in each row. It says how many oranges are there in 3 rows, because as you can see there's 1, 2, 3 rows. And so this is kind of repeating itself. The number of rows is 3, and then the size of each row is 4, and that's pretty much what this first few sentences said. Now the multiplication equation, they already gave you the 4, so that tells us how many in each row. So we needed the 3 to tell us how many rows. So we've got 3 times 4, and you should have had that is equal to 12. So there are 12 oranges all together. Okay, now we're ready for the back side. Once again, we have another array, and this is just like the front side. So I'm not really going to go over what you'll need to do. You need to look at the array to help you fill in these blanks, and I'm going to let you do this on your own. So I want you to go ahead and push pause to complete number 4, and then whenever you're ready to check it, you can push play. Okay, so the first blank is there are 2 loaves of bread in each row. So you can see each row here going across, and there's 2 loaves of bread in each one. So the question is, how many loaves of bread are there in 5 rows? So this right here told you how many rows, and you could have looked over here to see the 5 different rows. So the number of rows is 5, and the size of each row, meaning how many in each row, is 2. So the multiplication equation you needed to write completely on your own. In the front side, they started the first one for you, and then they had some of the blanks missing on the other ones, but this equation was for you to do on your own. So starting with 5, because there's 5 rows, and multiplying that by 2, and if you counted by 5s 2 times, or you counted by 2s 5 times, you should have got that there were 10, and so right down here at the bottom, we have 10 loaves of bread all together. Okay, so number 5 says write a multiplication equation for the array shown below. And that's just what we did on number 4. Here's the array, here's the multiplication equation. So this one's pretty simple. It's not asking you to write a sentence of any kind right now. So I want you to go ahead and write your multiplication equation for this array, and whenever you're ready to check that, you may push play. So for this array, it has 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, so that means I'm going to have 4 multiplied. I'll keep pushing that button. And then there's 1, 2, 3 x's in each row, so that's going to be 4 times 3. And 4 times 3 is equal to 12. So that is the multiplication equation that shows that array. Now the next part of this question says draw a number bond for the array where each part represents the amount in one row. So if you remember this from the Zern video, you have a circle at the top, and whenever you have a number bond, the circle at the top stands for the total amount. So the total amount that we're working right now with is 12, because we know that 4 times 3 is equal to 12. So we've got 12 in the top circle of our number bond, and then sometimes we've got 2 parts coming out of our number bond. Sometimes our number bond has 3 parts. It could have up to 10 parts. But the way that we figure out how many parts our number bond is going to have is by looking at how many rows. So we know that there were 4 rows, so we're going to draw 4 lines coming out of our number bond. And then at the bottom of each line, you need to have 4 circles, because inside those circles, it says that it wants each part to represent the amount in one row. So in each one of these circles, it has to have how many are in each row of the each row of the array. So let me get my number bond ready. So whenever you're looking up at the array, count how many x's again are in each row, and that's how many is going to be in each one of these parts of our number bond. And you can see that there's 3. So on each part of our number bond, we've got 3, 3, 3, and 3. So make sure that your number bond looks like mine. And this is just showing us that 4 times 3 is 12, because I've got 3, 6, 9, 12. And then the last question says draw an array using factors 2 and 3. Remember, factors are the numbers that you multiply together, which are the numbers in the multiplication equation, and then show a number bond where each part represents the amount in one row. So if we know that our factors are 2 and 3, then that's the same thing as saying that my multiplication equation is going to be 2 times 3. So since we have 2 as our first number, that tells us that we can go ahead and have 2 rows. And in each row, there's going to be 3. So we're going to put 3 in each row. So make sure you're drawing your array like I have mine. Mine's kind of crooked. And then the last thing that we have to do is draw a number bond where each part represents the amount in one row, which is what we did right here. So I think I'm going to let you draw the number bond on your own, and whenever you have that done, I want you to push play to check and make sure it is correct. Okay, so at the top of your number bond, you should have had 6, because that's the total amount of dots or whatever you drew in your array. And then you're going to have 2 parts in your number bond, because there were 2 rows. And then it said that each part of your number bond needed to represent the amount in one row. So in one row, you see we have 3, meaning each row has 3. So both parts of your number bond need to have the number 3. Okay, now you're ready for the exit ticket. Once you have all parts of that completed, then you may bring that to me and we will go over it.